morning. This is part 2 of a 3-part series doing some exploring around Mendocino National Forest in Northern California. If you haven't already watched the first episode that was out a week or 2 ago, go give that a watch. It'll set up where we are here today. Now I'm gonna get on the road and try and figure out some of my misrouting from yesterday. So I spent some time looking at the map this morning, looking to see if I could find another route that would get me sort of back towards town. I need to get into town today for a couple of reasons. Refuel, just to be sure that I've got enough gas to explore today and get back to town tomorrow to meet those guys. And also I realized last night that I forgot to pack any butter or oil or anything like that for cooking. And so I've got a few different pieces of meat and some eggs and stuff I want to cook, but I didn't want to just throw them in the pan without a little butter or something. It looks like I'm going to have to entirely retrace my steps from yesterday all the way down to sort of a main forest road that I was on. I've identified a couple of spots where it looks like maybe I could cut, but there's some private land involved, and from what I saw yesterday, I'm not holding my breath on those. So not gonna lie, I mean, I was definitely a little frustrated yesterday. I had so many routes that I wanted to take that just were not possible to take. At least it looked like they weren't possible to take, which just completely screwed up my entire loop, screwed up my fuel calculations, and then it just took me on this sort of long slog through some not super interesting burned out forest land that just kind of went on and on and on. And obviously, you know, routes going wrong or areas not being quite what you expected, that goes with the territory, right? It's part of the game. I guess what's frustrating is that having such a limited amount of time, such a long ways from home, you know, I kind of want to optimize it. And the areas that I was trying to get to looked like they were very, very interesting. I kind of got into the edge of it, you know, yesterday evening, where I found camp. It started being some nicer, more interesting areas, and I think if I had the time and the fuel to push further into where I thought I would be coming from, it looked like some really nice country, but I'm just not going to get to see those areas, and so, you know, that's a little bit disappointing. All right, that wasn't as bad as I thought. I'm back to the road that I cut off of yesterday. All right, I am refueled. I've got a stick of butter in the fridge, and maybe I grabbed a little lunch while I was in the little town of Upper Lake. I'm now heading back up into the National Forest on a completely different route. The guys I'm meeting with tomorrow, and in the next video, I'll explain to you who they are and why I'm meeting up with them. But basically, they had a couple of different options for the excursion that we would take tomorrow. And what I'm gonna do today is the option that we're not going to do tomorrow. It's interesting, I've gone back and forth between gravel road and paved road a number of times. It's not a bad little campsite. Could clear the trees to get in here. I do have a tip for another campsite up on top of a mountain that's a little closer to town, but a little easier to get in and meet those guys in the morning. So I think I'll keep going back in that direction. After a couple of days of solid driving off pavement, rough roads with the new suspension from Alldogs Offroad, I am really more and more every hour that goes by appreciating how much better the truck feels. Taking on some of these a little more rough, bumpy trails it's more of a pleasure. I mean, stuff like that, I used to hit stuff like that and I would literally grunt out loud. Oh, ooh, ah. And now I'm just going along and enjoying the ride. Now that's a campsite. I am on top of this mountain. Wow, it's not quite 360 because of the trees, but it's like 270-degree views. So as I mentioned in the last video, this is sort of a temporary kitchen setup for now. I think that the table and some sort of kitchen box is probably going to be the situation for a while, because I don't see myself building some sort of a pull-out anytime soon in there. There's a few things I kind of like about taking out a table and setting it up. I can put it right where I want. It's not necessarily pinned to the back of the truck, and sometimes by the time I get the truck leveled so that the bed is level, the ground behind it ends up being like extra tall or extra short. So not having the kitchen reliant on the position of the back of the truck is kind of nice in some ways. Now, I'm just using my old butane stove. I will go back to using my Camp Chef propane stove, which I like much better. It's got 2 burners. They work much better than this. But I'm not currently quite finished with everything in there, and so I wasn't quite ready to pack in the Camp Chef stove yet. That will be coming. Kind of a breeze coming up over the hill here, and so I just rigged up kind of a wind block with the lid of my kitchen box. Hopefully that'll help this cook a little more efficiently. So really just doing some super basic meat and vegetables dinners on this trip. Just stuff that I found at the grocery store near my sister's place back near Auburn, California. Well, the wind really died down out there, and I could have made a fire, but with dinner done, I didn't see a need to just sit out there and stoke a fire for no reason, when I could just hang out in here tonight. I need to get up extra early tomorrow, so if I can go to sleep early, that works well. And yeah, I'm going to take advantage of my nice little space here, review my footage from today, and get to sleep early. Good night. Well, what an absolutely glorious morning, and what an amazing place to enjoy it from. I hope you've enjoyed this second part of my little adventure here through Mendocino National Forest. Stay tuned, I've got one more episode coming up. Thanks for watching. Coming up in the third and final episode of this series, I will join some new friends to further explore more of the vast Mendocino National Forest, traversing mountains and crossing rivers, facing obstacles that are surmountable and some that are not.